Good day, everybody. This is Yin Yang. Hiding. Uh, I was still reading. Today we have Morsels of a Thought number 1608. I am writing text messages and checking things out, and oh my gosh. And then I said, I wonder how many minutes of time I have left to do this. And it turned out it said it was 6:09 a.m. Ah, so I said, okay, I'm coming. But no lipstick on yet, no makeup. Oh my goodness. I mean, I'm kind of ready. Okay, so today our subject. So, morsels of a thought of wisdom is to hope to bring you some entertainment, a little education, and possibly some to impart things to other people, some wisdom. Knowledge is the same as information, but wisdom is more like a very well developed, filtered out piece, set of knowledge that really works for you. So, knowing what to do in life is a form of wisdom, and actually doing it is called virtue. And I wanted to bring up letting go. Uh, my friend gave me a topic today, and I looked up Soren Kierkegaard. He wrote a book called Fear and Trembling. Anyway, so today I'm in California. It is 6:10 a.m., a little later than that. And here I am, Morsels of a Thought number 1608. It is a Wednesday, Words and Wisdom Wednesday. Here we have the Bible, and I was going to read you from Genesis chapter, let's see, uh, chapter 22, verses 1 through 19. And it would be about Abraham tested. The story of Abraham and Isaac. 22. Abraham tested. Sometime later, God tested Abraham. He said to him, Abraham, here I am. He replied. Then God said, take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains I will tell you about. Early the next morning, Abraham got up and saddled his donkey. He took with him two of his servants and his son Isaac. When he had cut enough wood for the burnt offering, he set out to the place God had told him about. On the third day, Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. He said to his servants, stay here with the donkey while I and the boy go over there. We will worship and then we will come back to you. Abraham took the wood for the burnt offering and placed it on his son Isaac, and he himself carried the fire and the knife. As the two of them went on together, Isaac spoke up and said to his father, Abraham, Father? Yes, my son, Abraham replied. The fire and wood are here, Isaac said, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering? Abraham answered, God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son. And the two of them went on together. Can you imagine how he must feel? When they reached the place God had told him about, Abraham built an altar there and arranged the wood on it. The nails were probably wet with tears. He bound his son Isaac and laid him on the altar on top of the wood. Then he reached out his hand and took the knife to slay his son. But the angel of the Lord called out to him from heaven, Abraham, Abraham. Here I am, he replied. Do not lay a hand on the boy, he said. Do not do anything to him. Now I know that you fear God, because you have not withheld from me your son, your only son. Abraham looked up, and there, in a thicket, he saw a ram caught by its horns. He went over and took the ram and sacrificed it as a burnt offering instead of his son. So Abraham called that place, the Lord will provide. And to this day it is said, On the mountain of the Lord it will be provided. The angel of the Lord called to Abraham from heaven a second time and said, I swear by myself, declares the Lord, that because you have done this and have not withheld your son, your only son, I will surely bless you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and as the sand on the seashore. Your descendants will take possession of the cities of their enemies, and through your offspring all nations on earth will be blessed, because you have obeyed me. Then Abraham returned to his servants, and they set off together for Beersheba, and Abraham stayed in Beersheba. Now, Soren Kierkegaard wrote a book about it, or an essay, Fear and Trembling, where he analyzes it, and I thought I wanted to find it. I couldn't find it, but I thought I would go and find more on sacrifice. So, in my view, this is my view now, outside the Bible, down to Yin Yang's view. When you want to relinquish something, you have to focus onto something virtuous, something that will replace that part of your mind. And to go to that fact, I'm going to go to a philosopher named Mongszi. He was called Mongszi. Where is it? Yes, in English, they called him Mencius, Mencius. Now, in Morsels of a Thought, I hope to provide you with little bits of wisdom, morsels of wisdom, so that we start to understand the things we can do and the things that we can avoid in order to create virtue in the world. So, little by little, we will make this world a virtuous place. I hope to entertain you a little bit and make you have a great day. Man's nature is good. This is by Mencius. Mencius wrote this. Mencius was a Chinese Confucian sage, roughly contemporary with Aristotle in the West. To him, Mencius, we owe much of our understanding of the thought of Confucius. Here, he explains the Confucian perspective on human nature and its development. He says, the tendency of man's nature to good is like the tendency of water to flow downward. There are none but have this tendency to good, just as all water flows downward. Now, by striking water and causing it to leap up, you may make it go over your forehead, and by damming and leading it, you may force it up a hill, but such are movements according to the nature of water. But are such movements according to the nature of water? It is the force applied which causes them. When men are made to do what is not good, their nature is dealt with in this way. In good years, the children of the people are most of them good, while in bad years, the most of them abandons themselves to evil. It is not owing to their natural powers conferred by heaven that they are thus different. The abandonment is owing to the circumstances through which they allow their minds to be ensnared and drowned in evil. All things which are the same in kind are like to one another. Why should we doubt in regard to man as if he were a solitary exception to this? The sage and we are the same in kind. The trees of the new, capital N, mountain were once beautiful. Being situated, however, in the borders of a large state, they were hewn down with axes and bills, and could they retain their beauty? Still, through the activity of the vegetative life, day and night, and the nourishing influence of the rain and dew, they were not without buds and sprouts springing forward, but then came the cattle and goats and browsed upon them. To these things is owing the bare and stripped appearance of the mountain, with which when people see, they think it was never finely wooded. But this is the nature of the mount. But is this the nature of the mountain? And so, Also, of what properly belongs to man, shall it be said that the mind of any man was without benevolence and righteousness? The way in which a man loses his proper goodness of mind is like the way in which the trees are denuded by axes and bills. Hewn down day after day, can it, the mind, retain its beauty? But there is a development of its life day and night, and in the calm air of the morning, just between night and day, the mind feels in a degree those desires and aversions which are proper to humanity, but the feeling is not strong, and it is fettered and destroyed by what takes place during the day. This fettering taking place again and again, the restorative influence of the night is not sufficient to preserve the proper goodness of the mind. And when this proves insufficient for that purpose, the nature becomes not much different from that of the irrational animals, which, when people see, they think that it never had those powers which I assert. But does this condition represent the feelings proper to humanity? Now, chess playing is but a small art, but without his whole mind being given, his will bent to it, a man cannot succeed at it. Chiang-tzu is the best chess player in the kingdom. Suppose they spelled it chu, it's actually chu, C-H-U, that he is teaching two men to play. The one gives to the subject his whole mind and bends to it all his will, doing nothing but listening to chess chu. The other, although he seems to be listening to him, has his whole mind running on a swan which he thinks is approaching and wishes to bend his bow, adjusting the string to the arrow, and shoot it. Although he is learning along with the other, he does not come up to him. Why? Because his intelligence is not equal. Not so. I like fish and I also like bear's paws. If I cannot have the two together, I will let the fish go and take the bear's paws. So I like life and I also like righteousness. If I cannot keep the two together, I will let life go and choose righteousness. There are cases when men, by a certain course, might preserve life, and they do not employ it, when by certain things they might avoid danger, and they will not do them. Therefore, men have that which they like more than life, and that which they dislike more than death. They are not men of distinguished talents and virtue only who have this mental nature. All men have it. What belongs, when he says men, it means people. What belongs to such men is simply that they do not lose it. The disciple Kongzi said, Kongzi is Confucius, all are equally men, but some are great men and some are little men. How is this? Mencius replied, those who follow that part of themselves which is great are great men. Those who follow that part which is little are little men. To the mind belongs the office of thinking. By thinking, it gets the right view of things. By neglecting to think, it fails to do this. Let a man first stand in the supremacy of the nobler part of his constitution, and the inferior part will not be able to take it from him. It is simply this which makes the great man. So, what I have learned is that when you are focusing on something that brings you virtue, your other thought that you were letting go cannot catch you. So, in Morsels of a Thought, I try to entertain you a little bit every morning. Today was 1608, that many consecutive days. Try to inspire you to have a great day. And today we were talking about letting go of things. Now, the philosophy was done by Mencius. Mencius, Mencius is the romanization of Mencius, Mengtzee. And he talks about, they spelled Kongzi in there with a Kungtze, but it really was Confucius. I happen to know that. Kongzi is the name for Confucius. And there. So there is another philosopher, and I will read about this. Okay. The Way to Tao. It's by Zhuangzi, Chuangtzu. Taoist thought traces itself to the author of the Tao Te Ching, traditionally identified as Lao Tzu. This. The following excerpt from The Way to Tao by Zhuangzi is a passage in which Lao Tzu explains the way, the Tao. The word Tao means way in Chinese, so, it's like the biggest word in the Chinese language. I can tell. Anyway, whatsoever is not said in all sincerity is wrongly said. And not to be able to rid oneself of this vice is only to sink deeper toward perdition. Those who do evil in the open light of day, men will punish them. Those who do evil in secret, God will punish them. Who fears both man and God, he is fit to walk alone. Those who are devoted to the internal in practice acquire no reputation. Those who are devoted to the external strive for preeminence among their fellows. Practice without reputation throws a halo around the meanest, but he who strives for preeminence among his fellows, he is as a huckster whose weariness all perceive, though he himself puts on an air of gaiety. He who is naturally in sympathy with man, to him all men come. But he who forcibly adapts has no room even for himself, still less for others. And he who has no room for others has no ties. It is all over with him. Birth is not a beginning. Death is not an end. There is existence without limitation. There is continuity without a starting point. Existence without limitation is space. Continuity without a starting point is time. There is birth, there is death, there is issuing forth, there is entering in. That through which one passes in and out without seeing its form, that is the portal of God. The portal of God is non-existence. All things sprang from non-existence. Existence could not make existence existence. It must have proceeded from non-existence, and non-existence and nothing are one. Herein is the abiding place of the sage. Discard the stimuli of purpose. Free the mind from disturbances. Get rid of entanglements to virtue. Pierce the obstructions of Tao. Honors, wealth, distinction, power, fame, gain. These 6 stimulate purpose. Nian, which is the face. Carriage, beauty, arguments, influence, opinions. These 6 disturb the mind. Hate, ambition, joy, anger, sorrow, pleasure. These 6 are entanglements to virtue. Rejecting, adopting, receiving, giving, knowledge, ability, these 6 are obstructions to Tao. If these 24 be not allowed to run riot, then the mind will be duly ordered. And being duly ordered, it will be in repose. And being in repose, it will be clear of perception. And being clear of perception, it will be unconditioned. And being unconditioned, it will be in that state of inaction by which there is nothing which cannot be accomplished. Ah. is so deep. I feel like reading it again, but it is so deep. Okay, I wanted to read The Loom of Time, but it's very, very long. For that, we need another. Uh, okay, I'll read it now. The Loom of Time. Okay. According to one popular ancient Greek myth, human destiny lay in the hands of three goddesses named the Fates: Clotho, who spun the thread of life; Lachesis, who assigned each mortal his or her destiny; and Atropos, who, with abhorred shears, as Milton put it, cut the thread of death. This poem elaborates on the theme, expressing the faith that God has a design for each of our lives, even though we may not understand it now. It's a poem. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 verses. 7, what do they call it? Not triplets, quartets or something. Man's life is laid in the loom of time to a pattern he does not see, while the weavers work and the shuttles fly to the dawn of eternity. Some shuttles are filled with silver threads, and some with threads of gold, while often but the darker hues are all that they may hold. But the weaver watches with skillful eye each shuttle fly to and fro, and sees the pattern so deftly wrought as the loom moves sure and slow. God surely planned the pattern. Each thread, the dark and fair, is chosen by his master's skill and placed in the web with care. He only knows its beauty and guides the shuttles which hold the threads so unattractive as well as the threads of gold. Nor till each loom is silent and the shuttles cease to fly shall God reveal the pattern and explain the reason why. The dark threads were as needful in the weaver's skillful hand as the threads of gold and silver for the pattern which he planned. There was one more I wanted to read, but it would have put us over time. It was The Volunteer at Auschwitz, and that was very long. Yeah. Well, there is more, but I'm not going to read it because we're going to go over time, and I really wanted to read the story of Cincinnatus instead. Um, where's that? Okay, it's too long. Okay, well, I'll probably read it next time. So, um, the story of a Roman statesman named Cincinnatus. It took place in 458 BC, but we'll have to read that later. So my theory of letting go is grabbing on to virtue, turning and grabbing on to virtue. Grabbing on to virtue, that thing can't get you. That was what Mencius said. And in Abraham and Isaac, God has a plan for you. You may sacrifice or be willing to sacrifice, and you will receive. So that's the message here. Okay? I will talk to you again later, and have a great day. Okay? Old Kinderhook.